what is it, we ask, what is it that you want that you currently don't have and can't see yourself getting, that you're using as your excuse to argue for your limitations and justify standing in the absence of what you want? Because there can't be anything that you want that you haven't yet let into your life experience that isn't coming, and that you couldn't let come so much more easily than you know. What is it that you want that you don't have, that is bothering you so much that you keep defending not having it by pointing out your own limitations or somebody else's? Because when you cut that out, when you stop pushing against what you don't have, everything you want will flow right in. Others don't really like seeing that when it happens to you, because they often don't believe that it can happen to them. And maybe that's what's going on with you. Maybe when you see others thriving, you don't feel so good about it because their thriving points out areas where you want to thrive and you're not. But when you understand that you and everyone else deserve what you want, and that this life will help you to figure it out, and it's a big enough place. We're not just talking about the universe. It is big enough. We're talking about life experience on planet Earth is big enough for everybody to get what they want without stepping on anybody else's toes. You don't know that. We love you so much because you've got shortage consciousness. You think there's only one pie that you're dividing up, and you're worried if that person gets a bigger share of the pie than you think they deserve, then they'll be depriving somebody else. But that's because you don't understand the pie is expansive. The pie is not finite. It's infinite. It gets bigger every time you know what you don't want and you ask for more. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can satisfy all of you. There is no shortage consciousness with source. But if it exists within you, then you might be using that as your excuse to not let something in. It costs too much. I don't deserve it. My mother would have never had one of those. Those people don't have it. You can't get poor enough to help poor people get rich or even find well-being. You can't get confused enough to bring clarity to somebody who's confused. You can't get sick enough to help somebody get well. Because you being well isn't why they're sick, and you being prosperous isn't why they're not. Everyone has access to the resources. You've been asking for them, and we think it's time that you cash in your vibrational chips. Because you're more than you know, but not because you were more because you were born, but because you are more since being in this physical body. You just become more and more and more. Everything you live causes you, even when something that you're observing really bothers you and you're pushing really hard against it, in knowing what you don't want, what you do want is known. It's equally known. The more you don't want it, the more you want this. And the more you push against whatever this unwanted is, the more you create whatever this wanted is. That's what the expansion of the universe is about. In your holding to the now reality that you don't want, and more important, in your disallowing the new reality that you have just given birth to. You can't continue to become and become and become and become and become and become, and you are all day, every day, and not let yourself go there without feeling the tug of war. And it's not a tug of war that's caused by somebody else. Oh, maybe the influence, because they are rotten. But as you observed them and you concluded their wrongness and you push against them, what you're really doing is pushing against you. It's hard to hear for quite a while after Jerry and Esther began playing with us. One or the other of them would argue with us. Abraham, I think you need more information about that one. Because it was just hard to conceive that someone that rotten from their perspective could be loved by Source. And the fact that they were loved by Source and hated by Esther was what Esther's problem was. They're not the problem. Esther's misunderstanding of her relationship with who she really is was the problem. We're just encouraging you not to calibrate to where the power isn't. Calibrate to where it is. We'll be very brief here. It's like what conditional love is. If you can change this condition so that when I look at it, I'll feel better, then I'll feel better. But it trains you into looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for alignment in all the wrong places. So that's what that's about. Of course, it's wonderful. When you take your bag of marbles that is all lighted up with love and appreciation, people are going to fall all over you doing nice things for you. And we're not encouraging you to say, no, go away from me. We just want you to be in the vibration that attracts it, not need to see it in order to have it. That's the difference. Unconditional love is loving because that's your natural state and because you want it and because you've learned to calibrate to it, and then everything that comes in response to that. Often, humans, doing just what you came to do, you become more and more and more and more and more, but you don't let yourself fully manifest the more that you have become because you're busy noticing where you currently stand. What is, it's lovely. You can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it and talk about it and define it and pigeonhole it and catalog it and make monuments about it and write books about it and talk to everybody you know about it all day, every day. You sort of kind of do that. And as you do that, you hold yourself in the vibrational frequency of what is rather than in the vibrational frequency of what you have expanded to be. And so that's what we talk about all day, every day here, is how to humanly blend with the non-physical part of who you are, to allow yourself, to let yourself be who you really are. Because someone's rude and you want them to be nicer, you've created that experience. But if you keep noticing how rude they are, you don't let yourself live what you ask for. Even with that rude one. That rude one cannot be less rude to you while you perceive them as rude. They might be nice to other people, but they will not be nice to you. It cannot be. You are vibrationally matching all day, every day, what you are offering vibrationally. And that's, we know. You can see and you can hear and you can smell and you can taste and you can touch, because you are interpreting vibration in that way and you don't even know you're doing it. But when you are mad at someone, when you feel insecure, when you feel taken advantage of, when you feel like you are a victim, the law of attraction matches you up with stuff like that, which just makes you say, see, I told you. I knew that was how it was. Because what you believe is a practiced thought. A practiced thought is a practiced point of attraction. Point of attraction, point of attraction, point of attraction. That's what we want you to hear about. What is your point of attraction? What's my point of attraction? Well, a clue is, how do you feel? Ornery. Not doing so good right this minute. It'll be all right, though, because dominantly you're love. You're pure positive energy. That's who you dominantly are. But who are you letting yourself be in this moment and in this moment and in this moment? There is this constant relationship between who you are presently in terms of what you're emitting vibrationally and therefore attracting vibrationally, and who the larger part of you, your inner being, that soul source part of you, that God part of you that was before you came into this body and still exists. And with everything you ask for, everything you live, that part of you that becomes more. That part of you, non-resistant in nature, pure love. Love and understanding and appreciation. Never hatred, never pushing against. Never feeling insecure, never pushing against you. Never judging you, never devaluing you. Never hating you, never harming you, never offering anything negative about you. Or about anyone. But as you stand in an attitude justifying your madness or your meanness or your negative response, your knee-jerk response to something unwanted and unwarranted, As you offer your knee-jerk response of that, you cause a vibrational difference between you and who you really are, and you feel that difference. That's what negative emotion is. Every time you feel negative emotion, what you're feeling is the vibrational difference between who you are as this pure, positive energy, love force, and who you're being right now in your confusion of who you are or who they are. The question is, when you have an impulse, if you're aware of how you're feeling in the now, and you are, Esther too, when you have the impulse, ask yourself, is the impulse coming from the upper half of the emotional scale? Is the impulse coming from alignment? Is it a message from source? Or is a message coming from guardedness? And it takes a little practice to get so that you can feel it. And the other factor that really affects this is, how much does it matter? In other words, that bottle of stuff, it matters, but not like a tree falling on your house. So here's how it goes. So let's say that you are considering that from the lower half of the scale because you're a practical person and because you like to stay ahead of things. You don't like to get into debt and you like to do the things that you mean to do. In other words, you're deliberate about the way you live your life. And so let's say that you are feeling some vulnerability and a little annoyance about it, not much, concern and vulnerability. Let's leave it there, which are strong negative emotions if that's the case. And so let's say that you feel that discord and you act from that discord. In other words, let's say that you move ahead with that and then you would know for sure. There are two ways to know what you've got going on vibrationally. One is by the way it feels, which is pre-manifestation. The other is by the way it manifests, which is post-manifestation. So now we've role-played that a little. Now let's say that you've decided to look for some existing matches. Not just about that, but about other things. What do you think is your best probability, which is a more spiritual way of saying chance? What do you think is your probability of finding a satisfying solution? To stay focused on what it is and take action from there, or to look for some existing matches that hook you up with what you want. And here's what we mean by this. Anytime you've looked at it and worried about it, you put what you want in your vortex, and what is it? Well-being is what you put there. And so anytime you're focused in a way that contradicts this that you want, you're going to feel discord. And so what you want to do is make your bag of marbles. This is really practical way to approach this. Make your bag of marbles full of, or have many subjects in it that are about who you are and how you want to live. I like being a good neighbor. I like getting along. I like that we are a lot of people sharing this planet. I like that. Now, maybe that's an easy existing match to make, and maybe it isn't. Still, we're hitting a little too head on. It's hard for you to find resonance with that. But, pretty day. It's off the subject, and it seems stupidly simple. But when you do that, your bag of marbles changes just a little bit. I like how, when it really matters, I usually figure it out. You know that's true about yourself. I like how things do work out for me. I like how things work out for most people. Different vibration. Existing matches. Easy matches. Easy things for you to focus on that your inner being is also focused upon. Thoughts that you can think that blend you with your inner being. On or off that subject. Go as far from it or as close to it as you want to. That's so powerful. It's going to be such a good day. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can convey. You are really good at what you do. You are really good at what you do. Just have more fun in the doing of it. Don't make big changes in what's going on in your life experience. Just decide to tweak it just a little bit into more fun. And watch the leverage of the energy that creates worlds flow to your fingertips, you see. It's really your time, friends. You know what to do, so be playful.